Can we talk about labels?
Yeah. You know, I find identifying as an addict and an alcoholic incredibly powerful. It's my first go-to place of not drinking, is to kind of label myself as that and to know that.
Yep.
Right. So I can't deny the power of identifying and diagnosing something. I was also, you know, we've spoken about this. I was also, when I was at rehab, they identified me as being ADD. I think some people find it very empowering and useful to have that particular diagnosis label. Mm-hmm. For me, when I got to rehab and they went, you know, it's almost the first day there, and they went, look, we've assessed you and we think you're ADD. I was like, that's great, but how do I stop drinking?
Sure. Priorities.
Priorities here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't help me with, like, how do I not drink?
Yes.
I think it's interesting, in now I'm able to look at myself a bit more because I'm not clouded in all of the stuff I was clouded in. I can see a bit how my brain works, which I can notice when my brain's a bit, maybe as they were referring to. Mm. But that particular, whatever it was, diagnosis, you know, for me, it's not nowhere near as important as being an alcoholic. Because I think that helps me with my brain more. I'm like, oh, I know how I'm thinking right now because I'm an addict. Because I crave more. Mm. I have this restless anxiety. Mm-hmm. I have this this feeling of having one layer less of skin in the world. This oversensitivity towards things. That label of being an alcoholic is incredibly important to me, because it's changed everything. And it's more than just not drinking now. Mm. It's about how I feel about the world, you know, why I feel the way I feel, why I go into that that kind of Prince of Darkness kind of depression I talked about. So if you're talking about how we perceive people in as far as like labels, yeah, it's really important for me.
Ultimately, what I hear from everything that you say and that you've said is you are more aware of how your brain works and how you are and how you react and how you deal with situations than you've ever been, from a self-awareness perspective, which sounds, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Kit, like previous to that you weren't.
I wasn't, because number one, I was young, and
Yep.
I think people in their 20s, with all due respect, haven't lived enough life to kind of go through some certain moments where they learn about themselves. And number two, you can't learn about yourself properly if you are that befuddled by a substance such as alcohol. You can't step out of those layers of an onion and see yourself. You can't do the work if that's going on. So now, having, you know, been sober a number of years, I really know myself more. I know the processes that are going on. I know that when I slip into a kind of depression, that it is temporary. It's incredibly important to know. People often talk about change or getting to know oneself as an incredibly positive experience, which eventually it is, but it has
Painful
to be
first.
hard won. Like
painful first.
Like good, permanent, well, hopefully permanent, solid change takes a painful experience. I used to feel like this. I used to attach, when I was drinking, the idea of leopard never changes its spots. Mm-hmm. And someone once told me, oh, a leopard does change its spots twice in its life. And that meant everything to me. I was like, oh, I can change. It's going to take a momentous effort, but I can change. And that's something I've sort of hung on to, is that analogy.
Yeah, and we can't think the same way forever, right? We're not programmed, or our brains aren't programmed in one way forever.
No.